Hello everyone, welcome to Smart Investing. This is the time for the market update, and what a day we have today again. I hope you had a very nice weekend, but please, before we start the market update, please subscribe, smash the like button, and leave a comment so it can help me to grow my community and also to help you all stay calm and stay focused and stay grounded during this very volatile and difficult time. I hope you had all a good weekend so that you can recharge the battery for this very difficult week that we're going to have again. We can see that starting with the QQQ, that we have retraced back at least 50% of the upside, because from the bottom we had more or less an upside of 17%, and now we retrace back. Yeah, we are at 50% retracement, which is not dramatic per se, but this is very stressful and this is very annoying because, again, this is for the same subject, the tariff, the uncertainty around tariff, but now it's all about the uncertainty about Donald Trump rhetoric about Jerome Powell and the Federal Reserve Chairman, and he wants to sack him, he wants to change him, he wants to do anything, and the market, is overreacting for everything. It looks like, this is incredible. It looks like everybody now is getting scared for every little things, every little noise that is happening in the market, and immediately this is worst case scenario, not this, not that. At the end of the day, if you have a good company, what does it make a difference if Jerome Powell or not is the Fed chairman? And they are all talking about the independence of the Fed. Oh, we need a Fed independence. Since when the Fed is independent? Since when? The Fed has never been independent. We've seen it with the Democrat, we've seen it with the Republican. Along the way, they never be so independent. So of course they are appointed by politicians. They also are under they go to the same club, they go to the same whatever, and they have also a career after the Fed chairman position. So of course they are not independent, but they want to give the illusion they are independent, and this is the illusion that they are independent that is threatened. Of course, I understand that. No, don't get me wrong. I understand this illusion is very important for people to believe naively that the Fed is independent. But having said that, the market today, the market has been extremely volatile today, and we're going to look at the QQQ minus 2.5%. It was a bit more than that during the day, but slightly recovered at the end of the day. And I think tomorrow we might see again some volatility until the tariff is not resolved, and until the Jerome Powell talk is not also over. And then, of course, you have all the headlines and the fear of that the US now is not going to be a safe haven anymore, and then this is the end of the US or whatsoever. I don't understand, honestly, this type of talk. I don't think the European will be a safe haven. I mean, look at what is happening in Europe. This is like a nightmare building up. You think that the European market or the euro is going to be your safe haven? Don't make me laugh. The yuan neither. Which other currency will be the safe haven currency of the world? There is no alternative to the US dollar so far. I'm sorry to disappoint you. If people are telling you this is the end of the US dollar, this is the end of the US safe haven status of the market of treasury, this is all talk and game. This is short-term noise. This is short-term volatility. I understand this is very annoying and it can be very scary, but at the end of the day, I've heard this story many, many, many times throughout the decades, and nothing has changed, nothing has changed. And at the end, the Chinese will negotiate with the US, and this talk about the Fed chairman will vanish. This is a lot of pressure. Donald Trump is not going to remove the Fed chairman. What he wants to do, he wants to put pressure for the rate to go down. But maybe he's right. Maybe we should decrease the rate. There is no indication that inflation will be out of control, and there is no indication of whatsoever. So if, again, he start to decrease rate when we already see all the signs in the statistics and in the numbers, then it will be too late. Like the same way when he was saying, oh, inflation is transitory, there's no need to increase rate, there is no need to increase rate after the COVID. And what happened? It was not transitory. It was definitely a long-term strong inflation, the highest we haven't seen for decades. And he was wrong and he was late. And then we saw the crash of 2022. So don't tell this guy he's doing a great job. I don't think he's doing a great job. That's my opinion. But never mind. It's not the point of this conversation. It's just like, all this noise is not preventing the market crash again. The Fed chairman has no influence on the cash flow of the companies. They have no influence on whatsoever. He's just there to make some decision on the monetary policy, and that's it. I understand he's supporting the market. I understand this and this and that. But when he's using the word stagflation, he's saying that he won't save the stock market. What is he doing? He's also playing politics. Did he say the same thing when there was the COVID crisis, when the Democrats was there? Did he say, oh, I'm not going to save the market. Oh, I'm not going to do this. Oh, I'm not going to do that. No, he was saying exactly the opposite. He wanted to quiet the market, to reassure the market that is under control and everything. During the great financial crisis, the chairman was doing the fear mongering. No, of course not. This is not the job of the Fed to be fear mongering, This is very important. We get that. Fear mongering is not the role of the Fed. The opposite is true. They should make sure that investors keep the confidence into the US market. They keep the confidence into the ability to have some ammunition if things get out of control. And there's no need to be, say, talking about the S word like stagflation or significant risk or a lot of uncertainty. We all know that. We all know that. We don't need the Fed to tell us this. We all know that. And so far, there is no indication on economic data there will be a lot of inflation or out of control in the inflation, and there is no indication that we're going to go from a low growth GDP rate for the long term. We can have a deceleration of GDP. Of course, we can have a deceleration of GDP growth, but we have always deceleration of GDP growth. There is no indication that the low growth rate of GDP is going to stay forever. At the same time, we see a booming of the inflation. There is no indication at all. If you disagree with what I'm saying, just please leave a comment and let me know if you tell me which data is supporting his case. I don't think so. It's just fear mongering, it's just speculation, and I don't believe it's his work. It's his job to do that. But never mind. SPY, same thing, minus 2.38%, and also retraced more or less 50% of the upside we saw from the bottom. We still are not at the same level of the bottom we witnessed on the 7th of April, which is still a good sign, but still we are not happy to go down again. IWM trading sideways for few days now, minus 2%. IWM is a nightmare for me. It's a nightmare for a lot of people. I mean, I don't understand people who are praising Tom Lee and Tom Lee this, Tom Lee that, and they use it on the thumbnail. I mean, what this guy is saying, he was saying that IWM would go up by 50% in 2024. At the beginning of the year, I was saying again, IWM will be the year of IWM to this year in 2025 because it didn't happen in 2024. So you see, this guy doesn't know more than you do. They are all guessing, they are all talking and commenting, but they don't know. That's why you need to keep your calm. Nobody knows what will happen. Of course, it can crash. Of course, it can recover. But what is the indication it will crash from this point again? You need an exogenous factor to make the market collapse from this point now on. We are still not back at the lows that we saw the 7th of April. So why are we worried? Of course, I don't like it also, but no need to make it worse than it is. It's not helping. It's not helping anyway. We are in the boat, and the sea is very rocky at the moment. We are going to go up and down. We're going to up and down side, and one side, another. The boat is going to shake, but we're going to go through it. We're going to go through it. It is no point to jump out of the boat now, because if you jump out of the boat, you are in the middle of the sea. There is middle of the storm. You're going to die for sure. The only way to survive is to stay on the boat and just wait that the storm is over and go to the other side of the storm. There is no other choice now. If you didn't jump before this collapse, then it's no point to jump now. No point to jump now. Doesn't make sense. Anyway, AMD minus 2.22. We are now also retracing back to the lows. We're still far from the lows, but the lows is 77. Now we are 86. Again, Palantir holding extremely well. Palantir is just crazy. Oh well, it is really holding the value. There is something about this company that is just amazing. Despite all the noise, all the volatility, and the huge increase and the huge valuation on these stocks, you see, the market doesn't manage to crush it, which means that this is not all doom and gloom, A lot of people are still thinking that there is a lot of upside in some of the companies, and speculation is not over. When you are buying a company of more than 100 times the earnings or sales, then it's not the end of the market in the US, Anyway, in which other market you will find the best company in the world, the best technology company in the world? Maybe the second market to the US is Chinese market. But would you put all your money in the Chinese market with the CCP, with all the uncertainty, with all the issues that you see in China and the lack of freedom, the lack of transparency, the lack of whatever? No, you wouldn't put all your money in China. So, and what alternative do you have from the US technology company or the global companies in the US? You have no such alternative anywhere in the world, you know? So, give me a break about, yeah, emerging market or European market. No, this is just short-term tactical talk, you know, but the long run is not at all these places that gonna win, you know. Anyway, SMCI went down by 6% today. We are back again to the strong support of $30 per share. Bitcoin surprisingly is up. You see, not everything is negative. Bitcoin surprisingly up today, despite the equity market goes down. You see, Bitcoin is a risk asset, went up today. So the dollar again depreciating by 1.06%. With all the talk against the dollar, against the US market, of course, the dollar is depreciating. People think that the US dollar will disappear from none, and this doesn't make sense, you know. But anyway, this is what it is. You know, you invest in US dollar, then you are losing both on the stock level and the currency level if you are a foreign investor like me. So you have a double penalty about what is happening right now. So next one we're going to check is the VIX. VIX went up by 14% today. But still we are far from the high of the 60. So despite you have an increase again in volatility today compared to last week, but still not the level that we've seen on the 7th of April, you know. So let's see what comes next. But this is very challenging time. It's not easy for me, it's not easy for you, it's not easy for everyone, you know, but we need to stick to the plan, and we need to understand that these things happened already in the past, and then we shouldn't really panic and start to see the end of the world again. You know, I believe that COVID and global financial crisis was much worse than what we are seeing today. The level of certainty and scare that we saw during these two crash is just amazing. You know, people forgot about that. Anyway, back 7 minus 3.3% today. Are we going to test again the lows that we've seen in the 7th of April? Maybe on the 4th of April, maybe, yes, maybe. There is a strong support at this level of 40. But this is like amazing to see some of the best companies in the world being trashed like this, you know, just because of speculation and talk. And there's nothing at all in the data that are showing that. You see, 30% down, you know, 30% down for the Max 7. Whoa. This is a huge discount. Just remember, just 3 or 4 months ago, people were talking about new highs and new highs and new highs. You see how low we are today. But everybody at this point here, back in December, everybody wanted to buy in Max 7, and this will be like bull market forever and YOLO and all this and all that, you know, rocket to the sky. But look at where we are after 3-4 months, you know. We are 30% down, and nobody wants to buy. Everybody wants to buy when the market rockets. Nobody wants to buy when the market collapses. Make it sense, you know. Make it make sense, you know. I'm the one who are buying during this market. I know. I'm very scared also, like you know. I'm not a robot, you know. I also don't want to lose my money. I also sometimes I have to fight with my fear that maybe this time is different, or maybe this time the market will crash and so on. But I just try to control myself. I just try to tell myself, hey, just stop your nonsense, you know. It's not going to be different than from COVID or global financial crisis. Everything will be fine at the end, you know. You just need to go through this tough time, and that's it. Go through this tough time. Anyway, you are already through it, so you need to go to the end. And I encourage you to do the same as me. Go to the end of the process, you know. Other than that, I think there's no point going through all of the stock that we see. We know the story. Same. So now let's go to economic calendar. Nothing today. Nothing is happening today, so don't need to go through that. Tomorrow, there will be nothing. Wednesday, a lot of Fed speak. We have this S&P Global PMI Index, Global Manufacturing Index, Global Services Index. Some new home sales also, so maybe some interesting data Wednesday. Thursday, you get again the continuous job claim. Initial jobless claim. Anyway, we will have a hint if we see any deterioration of the job market, but so far we don't see any. And that's it. So some job data and some manufacturing PMI index and whatsoever, but nothing major this week on the economic data front. So if you look at the headline news, you see the headlines is like always the same. Stock and dollar slump amid Fed tariff rhetoric. Trump push against Powell add to doubt of US haven status, you know. Gold hit record as dollar sag and trade war concern persist. You see, this is all about the same thing. The trade war and the Fed talk, you know. US stock tumbles as Trump threat to fire Powell adds pressure, you know. Anyway. Market are discovering the real Trump trade is sell America. You see the president attack on the Fed are pushing the world further off its American axis. Anyway, stock bonds sink in broad retreat from US assets. Trump upping pressure on Powell again call for rate cut. Do you see? It's all based on fear. Nothing fundamentally driven. All based on fear. And this is what it is, you know. This is what it is. Fear is driving the market. It's very frustrating because you think that fundamentals should drive the market, but no. During this time you are learning, if you have not been in the market for a long time, you are learning that sometimes fear can do much more damage than fundamental. Much more damage than fundamental. And this is crazy, you know, because now we are in this situation, right? And we all want that this guy maybe stop to tweet or to do all this drama, because it's not helping the market. Not helping the market at all to have all this drama every single day. So what I'm telling you now is really to try to keep calm. Do like me, take a deep breath and just relax, chill. Chill. Anyway, you need to take risks to become rich, you know. If you don't take risks, you're never gonna achieve anything in life. I know it's very frustrating. I know it's very scary, but you have to believe the process. You have to believe that this is not the end of the US. This is not the US of US company. This is not the US the end of the US market. This is not the end of the dollar. If you believe this is the end of everything, then I'm telling you, sell everything and go home, or go to the European market, go to emerging market. What can I tell you, you know? If you think the AI revolution, if you think the AI trend, the technological trend, and the technological revolution we have seen the last few years are not going to accelerate and just change everything we're going to do in the next 5 to 10 years, then I don't know what to tell you, you know. That means you think that because of Donald Trump, they're going to stop all these mega trends, you know. No, he will not be there maybe in for 4 years' time, and somebody will come and that's it, you know. Then everybody will forget about what is said or not said, you know. Excuse me. So keep your cool and stay calm. I'm with you. Drop any comment you want, subscribe, comment, and if this is difficult for you, drop me a note, share with me your feeling, you know. But don't give up. Don't give up, you know. And if you have the strength, just top up and DCA. Okay? So have a good evening. Bye.